尊敬的司法部主席
Dr. Klaus Schwab,
尊敬的女士们、先生们，
ladies and gentlemen,
大
friends,
家上午好。
good morning.
我非常感谢司法部先生的邀
Let me
请，
begin by thanking Dr. Schwab
机会再次
for inviting me
美丽的达沃斯
to。Davos again.
我上次参加达沃斯论坛是
The
2018
last time I came here was 2018. Over the past
我们
5
经
years
历了各种出乎意料的
we have
事情
experienced all kinds of unexpected
世
events
界政治经济图景
and witnessed
已经发生
profound
深刻的
changes
变
in the world's political and economic landscape.
在这样的背景下，今年的年会以
Therefore,
分裂的世界
the theme of this year's annual meeting, Cooperation in a Fragmented World,
意义重大，
cannot be more relevant.
相互了解是加强合作的基础。
Mutual understanding is an important prerequisite for
我们
cooperation.
在进行线上的交流，
We've been conducting online communications
手段
recently,
再先进，也
but we realized
人
that
和
no
人
matter
之间
how technologically advanced
交流
it is,
最近
is no substitute for in-person meetings.
见到很多的老朋友，感到
I had quite a number of very warm meetings with some old friends these 2 days.
允许我向大家简要的介绍一下中国
At this face-to-face event, I hope I can help you understand the Chinese economy better.
年中国顺利完成了国内的
In 2022,
政治议题
China completed its major political agenda.
中共20大
We held the 20th National Congress of the Communist Party of China
新的中央
and elected the new central leadership with President Xi Jinping at its core.
5年乃至更长
We
时
drew up
期
an ambitious blueprint for advancing Chinese modernization in the coming 5 years and beyond.
召开了中国的年度中央
Last month, we held the annual Central Economic Work Conference
20大的精神，
to make plans
今年的经济工作
for this year
的全
in line with the development of the 20th CPC National Congress.
从去年的情况看，中国经济增长
Last year,
3%，
China's growth was
保持了
3%,
物价基本
and we managed to keep jobs and prices
将
stable.
调查失业率5.6%，
Urban surveyed unemployment rate was 5.6%, CPI was 2%,
项目顺差占
and the current account surplus
略微超过
was slightly above 2% of GDP.
2023年，我们将坚持稳
In 2023,
工作总
we will
绩效
continue to work to make progress while maintaining stability
财政政策
and follow a proactive fiscal policy and a prudent monetary policy.
的经济增
We
长
will strive to maintain reasonable economic growth
和就业
and keep
总体稳定。
prices and jobs stable.
我们有一个工作的重点，就是要
Our
努
focus
力扩大
will be placed on expanding domestic demand,
推动产业链、供应链
keeping industrial
环畅通。
and supply chains
我们
smooth,
将支持民营经济健康发展，
supporting the healthy development
深化
of private sector,
改革。
deepening
我们欢迎
state-owned enterprises reform,
来华投资，
attracting foreign investment,
防范化解
and preventing
经济金融风险。
and diffusing economic and financial risks.
相信经过努力，
If we work hard enough,
2023年
we are confident
中国经济
that
会实现
in 2023,
好转，
China's growth will most likely return to its normal trend,
速度达到正
and the Chinese economy will see a significant improvement.
的事件。我们也预计今年中国的进口会明显的增加，
a noticeable increase of import,
大幅度的增加，
more investment
消费
by companies,
回归常态。
and residential consumption returning back to normal can be
回
expected.
顾了过去10年，中国的 GDP
Over the past 10 years,
万亿元
China's GDP grew from 54 trillion to 121 trillion yuan.
从74.8岁
Average life expectancy rose from 74.8 to 78.2 years
经济增长
last year,
贡献，去年达到
and contribution to the global growth last year reached around 36%.
这样的成绩，我们认为至少有5点
There are
经
at
验。
least 5 things that we always bear in mind in making such achievements.
必须坚持
First,
发展是第一要
We
务。
must always take economic development as the primary and central task.
在新的形势下，要
Under the new circumstances,
贯彻新发
guided
展理
by the philosophy of innovative, coordinated, green, open, and shared development,
开放共享，有力推动
high-quality economic development must always be our goal.
第二，必须坚持
Second,
社会主义市场经济
we must always make establishing a socialist market economy the direction of our reform.
配置中的基础性作用。同时呢，也要
We must let the market play a fundamental role in resource allocation
现在有人说
and let the government play a better role.
计划经济，这是
Some people say that China will go for the planned economy. That is by no means possible.
我们要坚定不移深化国有企业
We will stay committed
毫不
to
动摇
deepening
支持
SOE reform,
民营经济的
support
发展
the private sector and their growth,
保护竞争，反对垄断，保护产
promote
权
fair competition,
全面的弘扬企业家精神。
oppose monopoly, and champion entrepreneurship.
第三，必须坚持
Third,
全方位扩大对外
we
开
must
放。
always promote all-round opening up.
对外开放是中国的基本国策，
Opening up
开放
as a basic state policy
中国的改革
is a catalyst of reform
经济
and development
重要
in China and a key driver of economic progress.
越大。
China's door to the outside world will only open wider.
我们必须坚持
Fourth,
治国，
we must always uphold
保护
the rule of law.
产权、知识产权
We must protect property rights and IPRs in accordance with the law.
国际化
We must create a world-class and market-oriented business environment underpinned by a sound legal framework.
市场行为都必须在
Both government and market activities must stay within the confines of law.
第五，必须坚持创
Fifth,
新驱动发展，
we must pursue innovation-driven
大力
development.
推动创新，发展教育，
We should promote innovation
人力
and education,
提升
grow human capital,
金融、科技
foster
产业的
a sound interaction of finance, technology, and industry,
劳动生产力。
and work to boost productivity.
女士们、先生们、朋友们，
Ladies and gentlemen, friends,
是我们从改革开始
the above 5
到
points
现在一直坚持的经验。
are the important experience we have learned and gained since China started its reform and opening up. We must stick to them and never waver in our
在
commitment.
这里，我也想简要介绍3个中国
Let me also briefly touch upon 3 issues about the Chinese economy.
防范化解金融风险，
First,
特别是
where we are in resolving financial
发
risks,
生的风险。
those in the real estate sector in particular.
中国促进
Second,
经济
our
双
thinking
循环的考虑。
on the dual circulation.
关于
Third,
共同富
the rationale behind China's goal of common prosperity.
过去5年，中国出现了一些金融风险，这是由于
The financial risks that emerged in China over the past 5 years are a result of multiple factors, including macroeconomic downturn, loose financial supervision, imprudent business expansion, and insider control.
我们打了一场攻坚战，
We fought a tough battle to address these
高
risks.
风险大型企业集团
We dealt with conglomerates
处置高风险
as well as small and medium-sized financial institutions of high risks, disposed of distressed assets, curbed shadow banking activities,
资本市场的异常波
and
动。
handled unusual volatility in the capital market.
中国的金融体系总体保持了稳定
Thanks to these efforts, we have managed to maintain overall financial stability
底线。
and prevented systemic risks.
目前正在制定金融稳定法，为
We are drafting the financial stability law right now, which is expected to provide
法治保障。
legal safeguards for diffusing risks and maintaining financial stability as we go
在
forward.
中国是重要的支柱产业，
The real estate sector is still a pillar for China's economy,
发生了一些变化。
but there have been changes since 2021.
占银行贷款的40%。
The real estate sector accounts for nearly 40% of bank lending,
收入约50%。
around 50% of overall local government fiscal resources,
资产的60%。
and 60% of urban household assets.
包括
Therefore, we pay much attention
销售急剧
to the changes that have taken place, including a rapid decline in properties prices and home sales. Many property developers suffered from liquidity shortage and deteriorating balance
重
sheet.
大的风险。
The risks of a handful of leading property developers are particularly noticeable.
很容易引发系统性，
If not handled properly,
所以
risks in the housing sector are likely to trigger systemic risks. That is why prompt steps must be taken to address them.
防范系统风险和道德风险
That
的
said,
关系。
while doing so, we should also prevent possible moral
具体做
hazards.
法是：第一，
Here is what we have
保
done.
护契约
First,
和产权稳定。
we have stabilized expectations by honoring contracts and protecting property rights.
全国188万居民的2600
For
个
the 2,600 plus pre-sold but unfinished housing projects that concern 1.88 million people across the country, we have made ensuring their delivery a
市
priority.
场的恐慌，
And this helped prevent panic in the market.
做了大量的输血。
Second, we have conducted massive blood transfusion to the real estate sector.
要包括提供
The liquidity situation of real estate companies has been greatly enhanced
发债、
by way of fresh bank lending, bond issuance guarantee,
融资等等。
and equity financing.
第三，放松在房地产市场过热期间采取的一些管制
We have relaxed restrictions that were once introduced to addressing the overheating in the property
房地
market
产公司
to effectively expand demand and enable property developers to generate revenue.
中国的市场在房地产方面
Thanks to these efforts,
明显的变化。
the property market in China
从
has seen noticeable
中国
improvement.
仍处于城市化较快的发展
Looking ahead,
阶段
China's urbanization is still on a fast
相对
track,
房地产行业
and the enormous potential demand generated in this process will provide a strong underpinning for the development of the real estate sector.
以国内大循环为主体，
Right now, China is stepping up efforts
互相
to foster a new development paradigm with domestic circulation as the mainstay and domestic and international circulations reinforcing each other. The focus of domestic circulation is on expanding internal demand,
以消费拉动为
promoting industrial upgrade, developing a consumption-led growth model,
从而推动经济实现再平衡。
and rebalancing the economy.
国际呢，就是从2008年国际金融发生危机以后，
This
整个国际社会
is a logic reflecting international consensus since the financial crisis in 2008.
美国也要再平衡，整个世界
China needs to rebalance, so does the United States. The world economy needs a rebalancing. However, for domestic circulation to function well, it must rely on international division of labor and cooperation, as well as more foreign trade and investment. Therefore, the new development paradigm of dual circulation is to be pursued in open economy. China's national reality dictates that opening up to the world is a must, not an expediency. We must open up wider and make it work better. We oppose unilateralism and protectionism. I look forward to strengthening comprehensive international cooperation with all countries for world economic stability and development and the promotion of economic re-globalization. Now that China has completed the mission of building a moderately prosperous society in all respects, we have come up with a new social development goal of achieving common prosperity. A historic mission that will help us ensure lasting stability. It is a long-term task that requires an incremental and gradual approach. It is not something to be achieved overnight. Common prosperity, as we see it, is aimed at preventing polarization. It can only be attained through common development and the hard work of every Chinese. Common prosperity is by no means a synonym of egalitarianism or welfarism. As China grows, all Chinese people will be better off. But that doesn't mean their incomes and level of prosperity have to be the same. That is to say, there will be equal opportunities, but no guarantee of equal outcomes. Entrepreneurship is a key factor for wealth creation of a society. Therefore, entrepreneurs, both Chinese and foreign, will play an important role as the engine driving China's historical pursuit of common prosperity. If wealth doesn't grow, common prosperity will become a river without source or a tree without roots. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, the theme of this meeting, cooperation in a fragmented world, is highly relevant. As President Xi Jinping noted, changes of our world, of our times, and of history are unfolding in front of us in an unprecedented way. The world has once again come at a historical crossroad, and its future depends on the choices we make. As for how to advance international cooperation, I'd like to share with you the following 3 observations. First, we need to uphold the right principles and maintain the effective international economic order. Under the new circumstances, the traditional way of thinking cannot provide a solution. Hence, we have to abandon the Cold War mentality, try to understand the essence of things from the perspective of material duality, endeavor to build a community with a shared future for mankind, and join hands to respond to global challenges. We believe that an equitable international economic order must be preserved by all of us. International division of labor, encouragement of competition, anti-monopoly, protection of property rights and IPRs, promoting entrepreneurship and free flow of production factors, fair distribution, ensuring macroeconomic stability and a strong social safety net are still economic principles that are relevant today. The government has a key role to play on major issues. Despite temporary resistance and some setbacks, we must have the courage to uphold truth and law of economics and address complex issues in a pragmatic way with plain and simple solutions. Second, we need to strengthen international macro policy coordination and strike a good balance between inflation and growth. To tame inflation, some countries have chosen the policy that will likely result in the hike recession recovery loop. But it is important to note that inflation this time around is driven by multiple factors, which is why it is complicated. Apart from the demand side, supply-side measures are also needed to repair the supply chains and preserve energy and food security. A joint response to this challenge requires international cooperation and maintenance of peace. We call for more attention to the negative spillover effect of major countries' rate hikes on the emerging markets and developing countries, so as not to add to more debt or financial risks. We also stand ready to work with all parties to find solutions to the debt issues of some developing countries. Third, we need a global response to climate change. Most countries in the world are keenly aware of the urgency of climate governance and the need for common actions. The COVID-19 pandemic has revealed to us a possible connection between climate change and public health crisis. This is an area where effective international cooperation is needed. China will honor its commitments to the international community, push for global cooperation on climate change, work with other countries to tackle the serious challenges posed by it. How to strengthen cooperation in a fragmented world is a real problem we all face. We must face it squarely, dig deep into the causes of fragmentation, promote positive-sum games, identify the possible converging areas of cooperation, and explore the mechanisms for doing so. We must also work together to firmly safeguard world peace. We should be grateful that this year's Davos Forum presents us with an opportunity to do just that. I wish the forum a full success and hopefully help us strengthen cooperation and preserve peace in a fragmented world. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vice Premier. We have time also for 2 questions, and I would like to follow up what you mentioned at the end and come back to China's carbon neutrality goal. China has announced its goal to be carbon neutral by 2060 and to make in such a way a strong contribution to the achievement of the Paris objectives. But what are the practical decisive steps that must be taken? And you mentioned already, what role does global collaboration play? Could you elaborate a little bit further, please?
Okay.
非常感谢施瓦布主席提出的问题。
Thank you, Dr. Schwab, for your question.
Your question. So may I answer in Chinese instead of English? 关于3060这个目标，是中国政府
Carbon peak before 2030 and carbon neutrality before 2060 are solemn commitments the Chinese government made to the world,
这个目标。
and we will strive to achieve them.
目前的情况来看呢，主要做法包括几个方面。
To achieve that, we are making efforts in a number of
能
aspects.
源结构，
First,
我们将
we are adjusting energy structure.
可再生的新能源，提高它的比重。
We will increase the share of renewable and new energy
国力改造和传统能源，提高传统能源的效率。
and enhance the efficiency of traditional energy,
捕捉技术、
including
储能技术
carbon capture,
关键。
storage. These are important.
从中国的国情出发，
In the meantime,
我们也要发展清洁的、安全的。
China's national reality dictates that we also need to promote safe and clean use of nuclear power.
我们将抓住重点，
Second,
努力呢，这个减少排放
we。will focus on key areas of carbon reduction.
有些行业呢，如果能抓住，我们将降低排放的80%。
If we can focus on these key areas, we are able to cut 80% of emissions, including power generation,
这个
construction materials, steel.
行为，还有呢，
We are also promoting
制造业进行绿色的改造。
the change of consumption behavior and make changes to the traditional manufacturing
制
sector.
度性的安排非常重要。
Third, we think institutional arrangements
已经制定了
are crucial.
N 的政策体系。
We have made a 1+N
那么现在呢，
policy framework.
推动碳交易市场的建
We
设，
are promoting the building
推动绿
of
色金融。
carbon trade and green finance.
这个与此同时呢，在政府的公共投资，在税收制度的安排，
Fiscal on public investment,
我们都会。
taxation, we will also make efforts
第四点呢，
in these aspects.
我们必须全力的开展国际合作。
Fourth, we
一
must
方面呢，我们和美
strengthen
国
international cooperation.
有直接的国际合作。
We are working with the United States,
框架下，
including under
框架下，
the United Nations,
20框架下，
APEC,
我们建立了一系
and G20 frameworks. We have established a series of mechanisms.
已经开展诸多的国际合作，
We have already been working with the European Union
城市和工业园区进行试
in areas such as cities
进行合作，
and industrial parks.
继续推动。我们
We are working with the European Union on technology,
发展中国家，
and we are
就
collaborating
是说
with emerging markets and developing countries. For instance, in
境外的，
Belt and Road Corporation, we have announced the end
我们也愿
of building new coal-fired plants
融资的帮助。
in international cooperation, and we will also provide financing to countries in need.
还有一点就是关于中国式的现代化问题，
I would also like to talk about
因为这个
Chinese modernization.
中和是我们的国际义务，同时
Carbon neutrality
是中国的一
is
个
China's international
必
obligation.
生性的要求。也就是说呢，不是
This is also what China needs in driving its internal growth. It is not imposed on us,
人
rather, it is something that we want to do.
初级产品供应需要国际交换，
The supply of primary products requires international exchanges. In China, we have a massive manufacturing industry,
用的过程中
and in advancing industrialization and urbanization,
需全面的
China
改变
must
方式，
make changes
全面的推进
to our development model
这个发展
and promote
模式。我也注意到
green development.
这个曾恩先生也在，我也非常欣赏前一段他和朱明先生和
I've noticed
先生一块
that
儿提的这种绿色的 范式
the idea of paradigm change
总而言之
in
呢
green development
中国
that was raised not long ago.
推动碳排放、碳中和
The reduction of carbon emissions and carbon neutrality
我们也
are crucial to China's
对林
survival.
土草沙一体化治理。
We're also taking a holistic approach to conserving mountain, water, forest, farmland, and grassland ecosystems.
中国的居民，中国
We know that lucid waters and lush mountains are invaluable assets,
我想呢，我先简要的回答
and we also need to promote green development among the public. Thank you.
Vice Premier, in this context, we appreciate very much China's commitment to plant, in the framework also of our 1 trillion trees project, to plant, I think, 65 billion trees in the coming years.
Yes, exactly.
Now, I have a question which certainly everybody is keenly interested, Vice Premier, because there have been so many different reports about the COVID situation in China, creating concerns about the health situation, of course, the impact on economic growth potential, and of course the resilience and reliance on supply chains. Could you enlighten us what the situation is and what can we expect of the final, if I may say so, normalization of the situation?
Thank you so much for your question. If I may, I still want to answer it in Chinese. As you mentioned, okay, 就是像你所说的，我们
As you mentioned,
这个全面的动态清零的防疫政策，转向了治疗重症的防疫政策。
we are shifting our focus from dynamic zero COVID to the prevention of severe cases. It started on 8th December
开始
last year,
乙类，
and
也就是说
since
全面的放。
8th January this year, we have started to manage COVID as a Class B infectious disease.
第一呢，
That is a signal of reopening.
平稳顺利，
First, the COVID
一
situation
段高的改善。
is steadying.
现在呢，就是大部分社会成员
China has passed
恢复了
the infection
正
peak.
常的状态，
Members of the society
达峰
have returned to normal,
和恢复正常的时间是比较快的，从某种意义上超出了
there's a short span of time between infection peak and the returning to normal, which somehow is beyond our expectations.
生产生活
Second,
全面恢复正常，
living and production
餐饮
have been
业
fully restored.
旅游业
Catering,
各类消费
tourism,
都开始
and other
正常。
consumption
我在中国呢，
have restored
负责交通运输业，
have been restored to normal.
结果得到的数字呢，我非常吃惊。
I have received quite surprising number from the transportation department.
的
This year's
要
Chinese Spring Festival
这个数字呢，
will see some 5 billion trips made, which is an enormous scale.
全面的恢复了正常。
That is why I said just now that
介绍的呢，中国
life
今年经济的
has been restored to normal in China.
这个因素。第三点呢，目前的重点难点仍然
Third,
在老年人，具有基础
the priority
病的患者，
is still on
包括心
the elderly, those with underlying conditions, including diabetes, high blood pressure, etc.
炎患者。目前呢，我们正在努力的加以应对。
Now we are working
从整体情况来
to
看，
address these priorities.
病床
As things stand, hospitals, hospital beds, doctors, nurses, medicine,
完全可以保障。
supply of these factors can be ensured.
就是关于外国朋友
Finally,
到中国去
for all of you, my foreign
现
friends,
在的政策是
you are most welcome to visit China. The policy we are taking right now
小时的
is travelers only need 48-hour PCR test results upon entry,
而且没有 quarantine， 就不需要任何
and there is no quarantine,
东西。
no other additional requests.
我们非常欢迎广大国际的朋友
All of you, friends from the international community, are most welcome to visit China. We will provide you with the best services.
特别的问题上，我们需要一个过渡的时间，但是总
On certain issues, we need some time for transition, but overall,
呢碰到很多老朋友，
there is no problem.
大家都说到
I met a number of old friends
中国参加
yesterday.
发展高层论坛，
They told me that they want to visit China for the Boao Forum for Asia, for
都已
the high-level forum for development.
的水平。我感
That
谢
is also proof that things have been normalized. Thank you for your question, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Premier. We highly appreciate that you came here to Davos, actually just before the Spring Festival starts.
Yes.
You came here with important delegation. Thank you for sharing with us the latest policies of the Chinese government of China. And I think on behalf of all of us, I want to wish you a good year of the rabbit. Thank you very much.
Thank you.